Hey guys, this is your host Nitin Binhani, and a very warm welcome to my startup podcast channel Jazair Audio, where we share real stories with real learnings.
In today's episode, we'll talk about eFishery, an Indonesian startup that went from building smart fish feeders to becoming a $1.4 billion tech unicorn before crashing in what might be the most damaging startup scandal Southeast Asia has ever seen to date. Let's break it down into 4 parts, followed by key takeaways for both founders as well as investors. Part 1. The Rise. When tech meets rural Indonesia. Back in 2013, an Indonesian founder, Gibran Huzaifa, decided to take on aquaculture. He was running catfish ponds and realized that one of the biggest pain points was feeding fishes. So he built a simple, effective, scalable device, an automated fish feeders that was connected via app. Basically, the device can be programmed to feed fish at regular intervals in a more efficient way than traditional hand-feeding methods. The company, eFishery, aimed to do more than just sell hardware, rather build a technology solution that would boost efficiency in Indonesia's fish and shrimp farming industry and improving the lives of thousands of rural agriculture workers in the process. eFishery was solving real problems for fish farmers, providing credit, helping them market fish, and building supply chains. It was supposed to prove that Indonesia could build globally competitive, socially impactful tech companies. By 2023, eFishery raised a massive $200 million Series D, which was backed by VC giants like SoftBank, Temasek, and Sequoia India, now Peak XV. The startup was once valued to be a $1.4 billion unicorn and the poster success story from Indonesia. Everything about it was going right, except that it was a lie. Part 2. The Financial Scandal. It turns out that eFishery had been manipulating numbers for years. Co-founder and CEO Gibran admitted to running 2 sets of books, one for internal operations, the other for investors. It started small. He doctored spreadsheets in 2018 to avoid running out of cash. According to internal investigations and reporting from Bloomberg, in the first 9 months of 2024, eFishery claimed $752 million in revenue. Reality was, it barely touched $157 million, close to $600 million in fake revenue. While they reported a $16 million profit, in reality, the losses were to the tune of $35.4 million. In fact, investors cheered the fake numbers and followed it up with more money. Gibran created fake shell companies, paid farmers to move transactions on eFishery's platform to inflate revenue, and claimed they were running 300,000 feeder units, when in fact, the supplier confirmed they'd only made enough for 5,000 a year. This wasn't some accounting error. It was an orchestrated, premeditated fraud on a scale that hurt many people. Part 3. The Missing Due Diligence. Many experts pointed the finger at weak regulatory supervision and governance standards in Indonesia, with especially lax oversight of the tech industry. eFishery had not yet gone public, so it did not have to disclose its financial statements. Even the accounting firms that prepared their financial statements were still signing off on them, and the investors, though monitoring statements, didn't find anything wrong. This questions about the quality of the due diligence in case of eFishery. Part 4. The Fallout. By December 2024, the fraud was unraveled. A whistleblower tipped off the board. Gibran and co-founder were suspended. FTI Consulting took over and found the business was not commercially viable in its current form, essentially hinting to shut down. SoftBank may barely recover 8 cents on the dollar. End result, over $300 million is gone. Most of the company's 2,000 employees have been laid off. The smart feeders were scrapped for $6 apiece. And fish farmers are now back to manual labor, with many losing more than 70% of their income. The scandal has cast a long shadow over Southeast Asia's startup scene. The investors are spooked, with analysts even mentioning that checks in the $50 to $100 million range might vanish until 2025 or beyond. Instead, it raised serious questions on governance, oversight, and investor diligence across the board. So, why did it happen? Gibran's rationale was that it was all about survival, meaning sacrificing the truth to save the business and help farmers. He claims that he didn't embezzle any funds or wasn't buying any yachts. He was faking numbers only to keep his dream alive. In our view, this is a story of collective failure. Investors didn't dig deep enough, and auditors missed key signals. Finally, the lessons for founders and investors. eFishery's story is brutal, but it's full of lessons for every founder and even investor. If the model doesn't work, frauds won't fix it. Manipulating finances isn't a growth hack, it's a ticking time bomb. Governance is not optional. You cannot build something lasting without internal controls. Don't trust the hype, verify. If you're an investor, don't fall in love with the founder's story. Inspect the numbers, talk to customers, verify the truth. Early wins should lead to discipline, not overreach. The higher you go on shaky ground, the harder the fall. Do listen to our episode 93 titled Southeast Asia Region, the Tech Innovation Hotspot, that confirms that the region has massive potential with young population, connected, and hungry for innovation. However, this fraud is a dent on the region with a bleak reminder that scaling fast doesn't mean skipping the fundamentals. Folks, that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Join us next time as we continue exploring the dynamic world of startups and the valuable lessons from their journeys.